No matter what activity you are doing with a child with high muscle tone, the keys to success are controlling the environment, using the right handling techniques, and taking care with how you position the child. Everyone's muscles get more tense in certain situations, when we are afraid or cold, for example. Children with high muscle tone are no different. You are a part of the child's environment. The way you talk and move will affect how relaxed the child is. If you do not know the child well, tell him or her who you are and what you're going to do in a calm, friendly, not too loud voice. You want everything about the environment to be as relaxing as possible. Pay attention to your surroundings. If there's a lot of noise out in the hallway, shut the door. Is there a bright light shining in the child's eyes? Move it or turn it off or pull the curtains. Turn the TV off. This will help you and the child focus. Including the child's attention in what you are doing makes it less likely that you will startle him or her, triggering high muscle tone. Take one more look around the room. Is there anything else that may be distracting, distressing, or exciting to the child? Finally, make sure the child is warm enough, as everyone's muscles get more tense when they are cold. If you plan to start an IV, draw blood, or make a cast or splint, be sure to wrap the part of the body you'll be working with in a warm towel or blanket a few minutes ahead of time. When handling a child with high muscle tone, use a firm, gentle grasp. You want to maximize the surface area you are touching with your hand to decrease the risk of bruising and other injury. If the child is large enough, that means using your whole hand, the palms plus the fingers. If the child is smaller, use as much of your hand as you can. Use the pads, not the tips of your fingers, whenever possible. Use gentle but firm touch. Light touch can make muscles tense up. Think of how you react when you're tickled. Always use smooth, slow movements to help keep the child's muscles as relaxed as possible. Never pull on a limb or try to move it further than it wants to go. Children may have joint contractures or joints that will not bend or straighten all the way. Also, osteoporosis or fragile bones which fracture or break very easily are very common in children with high muscle tone. Remember that strength and high muscle tone are not the same thing. A child with high muscle tone is not choosing to resist you or fighting you on purpose. If you feel a child resisting, stop what you're doing, reassess the environment, and readjust the child's position. Proper positioning is your best friend when working with a child with high muscle tone. Whether lying down, sitting in a wheelchair, or supported in some other device, how a child is positioned makes a huge difference to muscle tone. Good positioning is the foundation of function, and stability is the cornerstone of good positioning. Imagine climbing a tree or a ladder when you suddenly lose your footing, or riding a bicycle and the road gets unexpectedly bumpy. What would your body feel like? What would your arms do? Chances are your muscles would tense up and you'd hang on tightly with your hands. A child who feels unstable will not be able to use his or her arms or pay attention to things around him or her as well as a child who is stable. For a child with high muscle tone, being unstable will also increase muscle tone. Jade, who has high muscle tone with higher muscle tone on her right side than her left, is going to demonstrate the importance of stability for us. Here, in her high chair, her body is completely well supported, and you can see how she's able to use both her arms with relative ease. Here, in her cube chair, her feet are still on the ground, and the back and one side of the cube chair are against her body, but she's not quite as well supported as she was in the high chair. You can see she's getting a bit more tone in her right arm and is leaning on that right arm for some added stability. But she's still able to play with her left hand and even her right with a little help. Here, sitting in this little chair, her feet are not supported at all, and she is needing to use both her arms to help stabilize herself, making it almost impossible for her to play, even with her left hand. Whether a child with high muscle tone is lying down, sitting, or in another piece of equipment, it is important that the child gets enough support to feel secure and stable, which allows muscles to relax and frees up the child's arms and concentration to play.